Dr. Collins, thank you for being with us. The rule has always been that once a person is charged, there is very limited media commentary outside what happens in the court for the reasons that it can prejudice a jury and it can deny a person the right to a fair trial. How often are you seeing that rule breached these days?
It's an increasing problem, Leigh, and not so much in the hands of the mainstream media. Of course, there are exceptions, and this might be one of those, but the advent of social media has really aggravated the problem. You know, everybody now is potentially an instantaneous global publisher. And the danger is that members of the jury might be exposed to material which suggests that a person facing trial is either guilty or innocent and is thereby less able to focus on the evidence as it unfolds in the witness box in the course of the trial itself. And
there is just so much more of a volume of commentary. Presumably there's a greater chance of a potential jury member being exposed.
That's the problem, and I think most of us have become attuned to distinguishing between, something we might see on 7:30 on the one hand, and then something that we might see by an anonymous poster on Twitter or other social media outlets. But the danger is, of course, that not everybody is as adept at differentiating between those things, because we know that conspiracy theories abound in the bowels of social media.
The judge in this matter says that somewhere in this debate, the distinction between an untested allegation and the fact of guilt has been lost. Is this a problem that is broader than this particular case?
Look, it's absolutely fundamental, first of all. Every person facing trial has a right to the absolute presumption of innocence and to have their case tried before an impartial jury of their peers. And the danger is that if things are said outside the courtroom which differ from the evidence which is then adduced in a trial, members of the jury might have difficulty distinguishing between the two. So the more sensational the coverage, the more serious the problem is, and the closer to trial that it occurs, the more acute the problem is.
An allegation alone is enough to destroy an accused person's life well before any verdict is reached. What considerations do you think the media should make when they're contemplating airing criminal accusations that are untested before the courts?
Look, they have to remember their very solemn responsibility. We rely on the media to be our eyes and ears for what happens in our justice system. The role is completely indispensable and we shouldn't downplay the importance of it. But as you say, there is always the potential for ruining people's lives by publishing false facts or publishing facts which are not proved, or publishing or broadcasting facts which differ from those which might come out in the course of a trial, particularly if that publicity occurs very close or proximate with the trial itself.
How do judges try to mitigate against that kind of thing, that detail that's already in the public domain?
So in just about every case which has any form of notoriety, a judge will direct the jury that they are not to read or watch news reports about the case, and they're to put out of their minds anything which they might have become aware of before the trial. And in most cases that's effective. The difficulty arises in very high profile cases where the volume of material is so great that it can be overwhelming. In really extreme cases, we've seen juries dispensed with entirely, only ever with the consent of the accused. But in cases of really extreme publicity, it can be that the only way of getting a fair trial is to dispense with the jury in its entirety and have the case determined by a judge. But the danger with that is it cuts across our sacrosanct right to a trial by jury.
Dr. Matt Collins, thank you for your time.
It's a pleasure.
Hi, I'm Leigh Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 7:30's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.